Hare Krishna. This is Sindhu here. Welcome to the Radha Madhav channel. Today's interesting topic of discussion is or all karma dharma. Okay, as you can see in the image, a beautiful sparkling light, and the quote saying your karma is your dharma. It's time to take responsibility for your growth, right? On Krishna consciousness, we will see today. I'll start with a small prayer. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravan Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pacharya Desha Hare Krishna. See, everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature, right? Goodness, passion, and ignorance. Like, therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment, right? It's not a question of embodied life, but it's the nature of the soul to be always active. Without the presence of the spirit soul, the material body cannot move, right? The body is only a dead vehicle to be worked by the spirit soul, which is always active and cannot even stop for a moment, right? In the chapter 3rd, 5th verse, Krishna is beautifully quoted. Let's see what is it. Nahi kaschit shanam api jatu tishtati akarmakrit karyate hi avassa karma sarva prakriti jair gunair. I repeat. Nahi kaschit shanam api jatu tishtat yakarmakrit karyate hi avassa karma sarva prakriti jair gunair. Right? So what is Krishna telling here? Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of the material nature, right? So therefore no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment, right? So one has to maintain one's body and soul together by some work. Work should not be given up capriciously without purification of material propensities. Anyone who is in the material world is certainly possessed of the impure propensity for lording it over the material nature, or in other words, for sense gratification. Such polluted propensities have to be cleared. That's what Krishna says here. Without doing so, through prescribed duties, one should never attempt to become a so-called transcendentalist, renouncing work and living at the cost of others, right? With regard to this, Krishna is beautifully quoted in text 8, verse 8, right? Niyatam kuru karmatvam karmajyayo hi akarmanah शरीर यात्रा पिछते न प्रसिद्ध्येत अकर्मणः नियतं कुरु कर्मत्वं कर्म ज्यायो हि अकर्मणः शरीर यात्रा पिछते न प्रसिद्धयेत अकर्मणः. So what Krishna says here? Perform your prescribed duty. For doing so is better than not working at all. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without any work, right? Many times we get so irritated and frustrated with our material day-to-day lives that we do not want to work at all. But how can we maintain a body without work, right? That's what Krishna is stressing here. So therefore one has to work for the satisfaction of Vishnu, right? Not for our own pleasure. Any work done in this material world will be a cause of bondage. For both good and evil work, they have their own reactions, right? And any reaction binds the performer. Therefore one has to work in Krishna consciousness to satisfy Krishna, Vishnu, right? And while performing such activities, one is in a liberated stage. This is the art of doing great work. And in the beginning, this process requires very expert guidance. One should therefore act very diligently under the expert guidance of the devotees of Lord Krishna, right? Or under the direct instruction of Lord Krishna himself, under whom Arjuna had the opportunity to work, right? Nothing should be performed for sense gratification, but everything should be done for the satisfaction of Krishna. This practice will not only save one from the reaction of work, but also gradually elevate one to the transcendental loving service of the Lord, which alone can raise one to the kingdom abode of Godhead, right? That's what he stressed. And in the 9th verse also, it's a beautiful, beautiful verse what Krishna has given. Yagnartat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhanah tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sanga samachara. I repeat, yagnartat karmano nyatra loko yam karma bandhanah tad artam karma kaunteya mukta sanga samachara. What he says here, work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, is referring to Arjuna here, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction alone. In that way, you'll always remain free from bondage, right? So the living entity cannot be happy independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord, right? Without Supreme Lord's grace, we are nothing. Because the eternal constitution position of the living entity is to become subordinate of the desire of the Lord, to become the servant of the Lord, right? Lord Arjuna therefore ordered by Sri Krishna to fight as if the Lord were his military commander. So one has to sacrifice everything for the goodwill of the Supreme Lord and at the same time discharge prescribed duties without claiming the ownership or proprietorship, right? Arjuna did not have to consider the order of the Lord. He only had to execute his order. The Supreme Lord is the soul of all the souls, right? And therefore, one who depends solely and wholly on the Supreme, what happens to him? Without any personal consideration, or in other words, one who is fully Krishna conscious is called the Adhyatma Chetas, right? Nirasi means that one has to act on the order of the master but should not expect fruitive results. The cashier, for example, I can say this analogy, the cashier may count millions in dollars for his employer, but he cannot claim ownership for himself, right? We have already discussed this in one of my topics. Similarly, one has to realize that, like Krishna is the real owner, we had discussed on that topic. One has to realize nothing is world belongs to any one individual person, right? No one can say everything it belongs to the Supreme Lord. That is a real purport of Mai or into me. And one who acts in such consciousness, certainly he does not claim proprietorship or over anything. This consciousness is called Nirmama, or simply you can say nothing is mine in this world, right? And there is any reluctance to execute such a stern order which is without consideration of so-called kinsmen in the bodily relationship, that reluctance should be thrown off. In this way, one may become Vigata Jvara, he says. What does it mean? Or without any feverish mentality or lethargy, right? Everyone, according to his quality and position, has a particular type of work to discharge, and all other duties may be discharged in Krishna consciousness as described above. This will lead one to the path of liberation, right? So Krishna says, concludes with this. And what does he says in the last 30th verse? Mayi sarvani karmani sanyasyatma chetasa nirashir niramamo bhutva yudyashva vigatajvaraha. Mayi sarvani karmani sanyasyatma chetasa nirashir niramamo bhutva yudyashva vigatajvaraha means, therefore, O Arjuna, he says, surrendering all your works into me with full knowledge of me, without any desiring for any profits, without claiming any proprietorship for anything, and being free from lethargy, fight, right? That's what he says. He's giving that message here. So what happens if a living entity is developed in this Krishna consciousness and is merciful to others, right? And with his spiritual knowledge is perfect, he'll immediately attain liberation from the bondage of this material existence, right? This word, he also says Daya Diveshu, means mercy to other living entities. Indicates the living entity must be merciful to other living entities also if he wishes to make progress in this self-realization, right? What he must do, he must preach this knowledge after perfecting himself and understanding his own position as the eternal servant of Krishna, right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Preaching this is showing real mercy to living entities. Other types of humanitarian work may be temporarily beneficial for the body, but because the living entity is spirit soul, ultimately one can show him real mercy only by revealing knowledge of his spiritual existence. So thereby, he is also quoting in 5th chapter, Krishna, one who performs 10th verse, duty without attachment, the results to the Supreme Lord is unaffected by any sinful reaction. It is always as a lotus leaf which is untouched by water, right? How a lotus is untouched by water, like that he says, right? In the 10th verse of 5th chapter he says, right? Brahmani adhaya karmani sangam tvaktva karoti yaha lipyatena sa papena padma patram ivam basha. Means you can be away from any sinful reactions. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results to the Supreme Lord, will be unaffected by any sinful reaction as a lotus leaf is untouched by water, right? Such is the greatness, you can say, right? Brahmani means in Krishna consciousness, right? very beautifully he has told that one who understands this perfectly, right, that everything belongs to Krishna only, right? He's a proprietor of everything, therefore everything is engaged in service of the Lord. So naturally what happens, he has nothing to do with the result of his activities, right? And it's neither sinful, right? This is the conclusion for the person in Krishna consciousness, right? So that's what, like, I'll just conclude my today's topic, like distress and happiness come upon us by destiny, right, without any extra endeavor. Therefore we should engage and we should find the self-realization, right? Whatever is we obtained is by the destiny, right? You do not want anything distasteful, but it happens to us, right? Similarly, even if you do not want happiness which you are disdained, it will come upon you, right? You should not waste your energy for material happiness, but you cannot get more material happiness than your disdain. So you can be sure of that. What your disdain will surely come, and you have to also, how can you believe it? Because you get some distressful condition, right? Although you do not want it, right? Example, I can say President Kennedy. He died by the hands of his own countryman. Who wanted it? And why did it come to him? He was such a great man. He was protected by so many, but it was destined to be killed, right? So who can protect you? So if the distressful condition comes upon me by destiny, then the opposite position, happiness, will also come, right? That's what Krishna is stressing here again and again. Why should I waste my time for this rectification, right? Let me use my energy instead for this Krishna consciousness. That is a real intelligence, right? So you cannot check your destiny. Everyone will experience a certain amount of happiness, certain amount of distress, right? No one is enjoying uninterrupted happiness at all in this world, right? That is impossible for anybody. Just as you cannot check your distress, you cannot check your happiness also. It will come automatically, it will come. So you don't waste your time for all these things. Rather, you should utilize your time for advancing in Krishna consciousness, right? This is the beauty of the Vedic knowledge, and it's meant for the realization of God, right? I hope you enjoyed this. I can keep talking again and again. I think it's time, and let me all catch you with a beautiful story, Krishna Katha, shortly. Hope you enjoyed this topic as much as I did. Thank you all for listening. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhayeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Srila Prabhupada